A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, also known as the American Civil War, there was a battle. No, not that one. The very first battle of the war, Fort Sumter, where the first shots were fired and 4 years of hell began for the United States and the Confederacy. But this is not a story about that battle. This is a story about the 6 most important battles of the Civil War, the ones that really mattered, where victories turned the tide and changed the fate of an entire nation. So, grab your popcorn and get ready for the greatest hits of the American Civil War. Coming up next, you can support this channel by becoming a member. Hey everybody, it's me from the channel. And today, we re-gun now look at some of the most important battles of the American Civil War. There were many great battles during this conflict, but the ones we re-gun now look at today had a major impact on the outcome of the war. Alright, let's get into it. The first battle on our list takes us back to July 21st, 1861, when the armies of the Union and the Confederacy collided at Bull Run, also known as Manassas. It was the first major engagement of the war, and it shattered the hopes of both sides that the conflict would be a short one. Before the battle, the Union looked to have the advantage with more troops and better supplies. But the Confederates had something else in mind. Led by General Pierre G.T. Beauregard, the South took the offensive and routed the Union forces under General Irvin McDowell, sending them fleeing back to Washington. D.C., the Confederate victory shocked the North and gave the South a huge confidence boost. It showed the world that the new Southern Army was ungoing to be an easy target, and it set the tone for the long and bloody conflict that lay ahead. After Bull Run, the fighting settled into a pattern of small engagements and raids. Then came the Battle of Antietam on September 17, 1862, which was the bloodiest single day in American history. Claiming over 22,000 casualties, despite the heavy losses, the battle was considered a tactical draw. But strategically, it was a Union victory, as it forced the Confederates to retreat from Maryland. More importantly, the battle allowed President Abraham Lincoln to issue his preliminary Emancipation Proclamation, which declared that all enslaved people in Confederate territory would be freed. This had a profound impact on the war, shifting the focus from preserving the Union to ending slavery as well. But the real turning point of the war came just 3 months later at the Battle of Gettysburg from July to July 1863. This was the most significant battle of the Civil War, a clash of titans between the armies of General George Meade and General Robert E. Lee. It was a brutal, bloody affair that left thousands dead or wounded on both sides. After 3 days of intense fighting, Lee's army was defeated and forced to retreat back to Virginia. Gettysburg is considered the high water mark of the Confederacy. After this, the momentum of the war shifted decisively in favor of the Union. The Confederacy never again attempted a large-scale invasion of the North, and although they continued to fight fiercely, they were on the back foot for the remainder of the war. The battle also had a profound impact on the nation. It shattered the illusion of the lost cause mythology that the South could win the war, and it convinced Lincoln that the Confederacy could be defeated and slavery could be abolished. With the Union victory at Gettysburg, the stage was set for the final acts of the war. In the summer of 1863, General William T. Sherman led his troops on a campaign through Georgia that would become known as Sherman's March to the Sea. The goal of the march was to capture the Confederate capital of Atlanta and to destroy the infrastructure and resources that supported the Confederate war effort. Sherman's army of around 100,000 men marched 100 miles through Georgia, living off the land and burning plantations, railroads, and supply depots along the way. They fought several battles, including the siege of Savannah, but their path was generally unopposed, as most Southerners had fled the advancing Union troops. By the time Sherman's army reached Savannah on December 21, 1864, they had destroyed over 100 miles of railroad, countless bridges and trestles, as well as vast amounts of food, supplies, and military equipment. This effectively cut off the Confederacy's access to vital resources and made it impossible for them to wage war effectively. But even before Sherman's march, the Confederacy was on the verge of collapse. The Battle of Vicksburg, which took place from May to July 1863, was a turning point in the war. The strategic value of the Mississippi River had been clear since the start of the conflict. Whoever controlled the river would have a major advantage in the war. The Union had already gained control of the lower Mississippi, and capturing Vicksburg would give them full control of the entire river. After a long and bloody siege, Vicksburg fell to the Union, splitting the Confederacy in two and giving the Union troops control of the Mississippi. This was a devastating blow to the Confederacy, and it made it increasingly clear that the war was not going to end anytime soon. But the fighting didn't stop there. In the Western theater of the war, General Ulysses S. Grant pressed hard against Confederate General Robert E. Lee's army in Virginia. Grant's strategy was simple: to wear down Lee's army and force them to surrender. He knew that the Confederacy didn't have the resources to sustain a long war, and he was determined to end it as quickly as possible. Grant and Lee fought a series of battles in 1864, including the Wilderness, Spotsylvania, and Cold Harbor, which were characterized by massive casualties and little strategic gain. But Grant's persistence paid off in April 1865, when Lee surrendered to Grant at Appomattox Courthouse. The terms of the surrender were generous, with Lee's men being allowed to keep their weapons and most of their personal property. The Confederacy was over, and the United States was preserved. So there you have it, 6 of the most important battles of the Civil War. These battles were not only crucial in determining the outcome of the war, but they also had a profound impact on the nation as a whole. From the first battle at Fort Sumter to the final surrender at Appomattox, each battle was a step closer to ending the conflict and defining America's destiny. It is hard to imagine where the country would be today if the outcome of these battles had been different. The loss of life during the Civil War was staggering. Thousands upon thousands of young men from both the North and South gave their lives so that the nation could be preserved and slavery could be abolished. These men deserve our remembrance. I hope you enjoyed learning more about some of the most important battles of the Civil War. If you want to learn more about any of these battles or other aspects of the Civil War, please feel free to ask. Thank you for watching, and please come back soon. We have lots more videos coming up.